He was outrageous. I mean, he was just a beautiful spirit, you know. I mean, he certainly didn't deserve that, you know. And he's another, I mean, once again, we're bringing, I guess, the audio again.
Rolling Stones legend Keith Richards never held back his opinions, and in this video, we reveal the 6 guitarists he reportedly couldn't stand. From surprising names to long-standing rivalries, find out who made his blacklist and why. He was crazy, he had a great spirit. They didn't deserve that, you know. Eddie Van Halen is back, and we're giving you the audio again. Do you get it? What John Mayer, Steve Vai, and Keith Richards all have in common is that they've all been hit by his famous tongue. That's right, folks, the human riff, the man who gave us satisfaction and can't get any, has a lot to say about his fellow fretboard warriors, and trust me, they're not exactly diplomatic. He's been known to call shredders fake and dismiss modern guitarists as bedroom players. We're going to talk about the 6 guitarists that the Rolling Stones legend is said to not like, along with the drama that happened behind the scenes. Whether you're on Keith's side or think he's just being cranky, get ready for some juicy feuds. Get ready for some really mean quotes that will make you wonder if these guitar gods ever really liked each other, so grab some popcorn and buckle up. Turn up your amp, and let's look at some of the most controversial battles in rock and roll history. Here are 6 guitarists that Keith Richards really doesn't like, and you won't believe why. This is Yngwie Malmsteen 6. Hey, Yngwie Malmsteen. Our list starts with number 6, which is one of the ugliest feuds in guitar history, Keith Richards vs. Yngwie Malmsteen, a Swedish guitar genius. This one gets heated. Keith dislikes a lot of things about modern guitar playing, and Yngwie's lightning-fast neoclassical shred style is exactly what Keith calls musical masturbation, all technique and no soul. According to people who were there, the fight began when Keith saw one of Yngwie's performances on MTV in the mid-1980s and told his bandmate Ronnie Wood, "Look at this prat, that's not guitar playing, that's just showing off." Some say that the Stones camp was hurt, but the jab was noticed by the shred community. Things got really heated when Keith went on record in Guitar Player magazine calling the whole non-classical movement a circus sideshow and saying that real guitar artistry comes from passion, not from practicing with metronomes in your bedroom. In response, a famously angry guitarist called Keith an old blues dinosaur who couldn't play a proper scale if his life depended on it. The feud is a great example of the age-old debate in the guitar world, feel versus technique. Keith is of the school of raw emotion, where 3 chords and the truth beat 1,000-note sweep any day. Yngwie is the technical revolution, showing that you can do things with 6 strings that rock pioneers never thought possible. For Keith, there's no contest, as he supposedly said during a recording session, "I'll take B.B. King playing one note with feeling over that Swedish circus performer any day." Steve Vai's 5th day. Steve Vai is number 5 on our list. He is the perfect clash of styles. Keith Richards vs. Steve Vai, the man who is often called the world's most technically gifted guitarist. This feud perfectly captures the age-old argument between raw feeling and technical mastery. According to witnesses, it all began at the 1991 Rock and Roll Hall of Fame ceremony, where both guitarists were performing. During the jam session, Steve started one of his signature technical shows, complete with tapping, sweeping, and every trick in the book. Keith later told a reporter, "That guy plays like he's doing open-heart surgery, not rock and roll." In a famous interview from 1993, Keith said that some guitarists can play 500 notes and say nothing, while others can play one note that makes you cry. People in the business knew exactly who he was talking about, and Steve's camp was sure to notice. Vai, never one to back down, allegedly replied at a guitar clinic, "Yeah, I can play more notes than Keith can count." The fight is about something more important in the guitar community, the never-ending battle between feel and skill. Keith is the heart and soul of rock and roll, every note has meaning and weight. 6 shows how guitar playing has changed over time, turning the instrument into an open platform for technical expression. Keith's attitude, as he is said to have told his guitar tech, I'd rather play 5 notes that mean something than 1,000 notes that don't. It's not about showing off your skills as a guitarist, it's about connecting with the audience through pure emotion. Even if that means playing simple but powerful riffs that move people's hearts instead of flashy solos. Eddie Van Halen. Their chops 4 with Eddie Van Halen in 4th place. Keith Richards vs Eddie Van Halen is a fight that shocked the rock world. This one is especially juicy because both of these guys changed the way people play guitar in their own unique ways. The alleged fight started when Van Halen opened for the Stones on their huge 1989 Steel Wheels tour. According to a former Stones roadie, tensions were palpable from the first day backstage. Keith allegedly walked into Eddie's dressing room and found him practicing complicated tapping patterns. He allegedly told Eddie, "Mate, save it for Guitar Center. This is a rock show, not a bloody demonstration." Things got worse when Eddie's two-hand tapping style started to be copied by younger guitarists in the 1980s in an interview with Rolling Stone magazine that has since become famous. Keith threw out the whole Widley movement, saying it had nothing to do with real rock and roll. Eddie, who is known for being humble, was upset by Keith's words, and he is said to have told a close friend, "Keith keeps it simple because that's all he can Joe Satriani play." The comment got back to Richards and made the fight worse. People in the guitar business say the real problem was jealousy. Eddie was on Guitar magazine covers and inspiring a new generation, while Keith felt like he wasn't given enough attention at a guitar summit in 1992. Keith supposedly wouldn't be in the same room as Eddie because he thought Eddie's style was more like gymnastics than music. The feud is an important part of rock history. Conventional versus new options. Eddie opened the floodgates to technical possibilities, as Keith is said to have told his friends. Keith pushed the raw power of blues-based rock. "I'll take soul over solos any day of the week." Third, Joe Satriani made it into the top 3. We have a fight that will blow your mind. Joe Satriani vs Keith Richards. This one is really explosive because it features the master of rock guitar playing against the king of musical skill. It is said that the trouble began at a VH1 Awards show in 1996. Insiders in the guitar business said Satriani, who just released The Extremist, was the next big thing in guitar. Keith caught Joe telling a reporter that rock music had to move on from the 3-chord blues progressions of the past. Later that night, Keith is said to have grabbed Joe at the after-party and told him, "Listen, mate, real guitar playing isn't about jerking off on stage." For weeks, the whole music press was talking about the fight. Things got worse when Keith gave a mean interview to Guitarist magazine, calling instrumental guitar musical masturbation and saying that if you can't communicate in 3 minutes with 3 chords, you're not a real musician. "You're a virtuoso wanker." Satriani, always the man, stayed quiet in public, but he said that Keith told his tour manager that he wouldn't know good tone if it bit him on the behind. The comment got out, making the feud worse, according to industry sources. Keith doesn't like what Satriani stands for, the importance of skill over feeling. The joy of instrumental showmanship over songwriting craft, as Keith is said to have said during a studio session. "That tells you everything you need to know about real rock and roll. I've never seen anyone dance to a Satriani solo." This fight is about whether guitar music is meant to be fun or art, and how easy or complex it should be. Keith picked his side in the Guns N' Roses feud a long time ago. Coming in second place on our list of Keith's guitar grudges is no other than Guns N' Roses star. This fight is especially shocking because these two bands play the same style of rock and roll, or so you'd think. According to tour sources, the trouble started when Guns N' Roses opened for the Stones on the 1989 Steel Wheels tour. When Keith saw Slash's guitar tech setting up multiple rigs and a huge number of effects pedals, he allegedly walked over and asked, "Is this a concert or a bloody science experiment?" In an interview with Spin magazine in 1992, Keith reportedly said that Slash was a good guitarist who played too much. He also allegedly said that all of those effects pedals are just a crutch for guitarists who can't make their instrument sing naturally. It is said that Slash, who is known for keeping things cool, got so mad backstage at an event in 1993 that he told his bandmates, Keith wouldn't know a good lead tone if Mick Jagger wrote a song about it. The comment was sent back to Richards, who is said to have replied by calling yesterday's news with today's haircut. Sources in the music business said the fight is about more than just songs. Keith reportedly felt threatened by Slash's rise to fame as the new face of rock guitar, the guy selling guitars and packing stadiums while the Stones were called dinosaurs. At a guitar summit in 1994, both guitarists were supposed to play, but Keith reportedly refused, saying, "I won't share a stage with someone whose signature tone comes from a Marshall and 15 bloody effects pedals." This fight shows Keith's strong preference for natural guitar sound compared to current rock's use of effects and production, which Keith is said to have told his tech. "When you put Gibson and Marshall together, you get rock and roll. Everything else is just noise." John Mayer. And now we've reached the top of the list with the guitar fight that started it all. John Mayer vs. Keith Richards. This one really set off the guitar world because it shows what might be the biggest age gap in rock history. The fireworks began in 2004 when John Mayer, fresh off winning 2 Grammys, told MTV that he wanted to be the next Keith Richards, according to sources in the business. Keith is said to have told his manager, "The next me," after seeing the conversation. The kid plays the guitar like he learned it from videos on YouTube. Keith's worst attack on Mayer happened in a 2006 Rolling Stone interview, where he called him a bedroom guitar player who wouldn't last 5 minutes on a real stage. Keith is also said to have said, "These modern guitarists spend more time with their computers than their guitars. That's not rock and roll, that's PowerPoint." Mayer in his own interview, Stung made it clear that he respected Keith more than Keith respected him, but sources close to him say that he was deeply hurt when Keith's camp supposedly told the press that Keith was just jealous of someone who can play proper scales. The fight reached its peak when both Keith and Mayer were set to perform at the same event in 2009. Keith allegedly demanded that Mayer's monitor mix be turned down, saying that Mayer's guitar tone was offensive to real musicians. Insiders in the music business say Keith retaliated by playing Keith's signature Satisfaction riff. In the style of Steve Vai, complete with a deliberate middle finger to Richards. Keith is said to hate everything Mayer represents, including the focus on technique over feeling and the commercialization of blues. Keith is said to have said in a heated argument backstage, "That boy has every pedal, amp, and effect known to man and still can't make a guitar weep like Muddy Waters did with one beat-up Telecaster." So there you have it, 6 guitarists, from shredders to current masters, who are said to make Keith Richards see red. The famed Stones singer has strong feelings about who should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Do you think Keith is just being honest, or is he stuck in the past? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to hit the like button. To get more music drama, subscribe and don't forget to ring the bell. That way, you'll never miss our next hot list.